Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasuva Yad Bhadram Tanna Asuva. The Vedas. The name itself conjures up images of Sanskrit mantras with mysterious powers and mystic knowledge. What are the Vedas really? What is the knowledge they contain? Who wrote them? This presentation will try and give you an idea of what the Vedas are and what they contain. Vedas are universally accepted as the oldest books of mankind. For the Hindus, they are not just ordinary books, but the fountainhead of all knowledge, whether of the material world or of the spiritual world. They are 4 in number: Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved and Atharvaved. Their origin is shrouded in the mists of time, so we cannot truly say when they appeared. The history of Sanskrit literature by Beaver says any such attempt of defining the Vedic antiquity is absolutely fruitless. Still, some Western estimates put it as 5,000 years old. However, according to the Indian tradition, Vedas appeared with the advent of man on earth. The Vedas are believed to be revealed texts, that is, they appeared in the minds of sages as is, not as an idea which the sage then put to verse like a poem, but as the verse itself. For this reason, they are called Aparishaya, not created by man. Thus, Rigved was revealed to sage Agni, Yajurved to sage Vayu, Samaved to sage Aditya, and Atharvaved to sage Angira. They in turn transmitted it to Brahma, after which a continuous line of rishis and preachers have kept the knowledge alive. That the Vedas are not the creation of man may be a little hard to believe in the beginning. However, when you start studying Sanskrit and the Vedas, you realize that the Sanskrit of the Vedas is almost completely different from all other texts. In fact, Sanskrit has always been divided into 2, Vedic Sanskrit and Lokik Sanskrit. Lokik Sanskrit is what you find in all man-made Sanskrit texts like Valmiki's Ramayana or Kalidasa's Meghadutam, while Vedic Sanskrit is to be found only in the Vedas. The main reason that Vedic Sanskrit is different is that it is based on the root meaning of the words taken along with the meanings of the prefixes and suffixes. Take the first word in Rigved, Agni. In Lokik Sanskrit, it has only one meaning, fire. In Vedic Sanskrit, the root Agi along with suffixes acquires the meaning of Agra, as in the Hindi word Age, meaning in front or coming first. Since the fire is placed first in the Havan Kund, it is called Agni. Also, because God appears first in the universe, he is called Agni. Because the king is first among his people, he may also be called Agni. Similarly, a leader could be called Agni. In fact, Agni can be derived from several other roots and has different meanings in those cases. Thus, in one small world, you can see how much complexity exists in the Vedas. Can you imagine how many meanings a verse can have? Due to this complexity, I find it very difficult to believe that any man could have created even a single verse. Like nature, you can keep unraveling meanings out of verses and never reach the end. It is mere stupidity to try and understand the Vedas after studying Lokik Sanskrit, and also while lacking the deep insight available to a true seer. This is the reason most commentaries available today, like the much regarded commentaries of Sion, who wrote an extant summary in the 14th century AD, and those written by foreigners like Max Muller and Griffith, which are themselves based on science commentary, are not credible. They very often give impossible or repulsive meanings to Vedic verses. One of the most authoritative commentaries is that of Swami Dayanand Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj and the reviver of Vedas in modern times. Aurobindo said of him, "Whatever may be the final and complete interpretation of the Vedas, Dayanand will be honored as the first discoverer of the right clues. He has found out the keys of the doors that time had closed and rent asunder the seals of the imprisoned fountains." Being Aparushaya, the Vedas are considered as proof unto themselves, that is, Swatah Praman, requiring nobody else to confirm their validity. In fact, they provide validity to everything else that is borrowed from them. I have read some of all the 4 Vedas, and until now I have not come across anything against science and scientific facts. In fact, it speaks of many things science has not discovered yet. Religion is usually at loggerheads with science laying an extraordinary emphasis on faith. The Vedas are probably the only exceptions that encourage man to question, explore, and constantly learn. Arguably, the tolerant attitude of the Hindus and their adaptability may be directly ascribed to this Vedic tradition. So now the million-dollar question: what do the Vedas contain? Vedas are a collection of verses called mantras that expound all knowledge necessary for mankind. Topics range from the common, biology, botany, physics, farming and irrigation, to the uncommon, dharma, karma and moksha. In short, all activities that form the basis of human endeavor. The idea is to give man a jump start into understanding the universe and his place in it. But this knowledge is in seed form, not as a manual, but as a pointer, saying, look here, you should check this out. For example, take the decimal system. It is universally accepted now that this system is the most suitable for scientific study. Indians were using it long before it became known to the West, thanks to the Vedas. Here in the first verse, the Eka, Dasha, Sahasram, Ayutam, etc. are powers of 10, starting with the power of 0, that is 1. Thus the verse is pointing towards using 10 as the base for counting. The next verse contains the 4 times table, Chatasraha, Ashto, Dwadasha, Shodasha, etc. The verse exhorts the reader through the words Yajnena Kalpatam to develop the whole science of mathematics through addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and so on. Similarly, many other subjects are covered in the Vedas. The importance of the sun, fire, electricity and wind as sources of energy is mentioned in many ways. The anatomy and physiology of the human body, along with its many ailments and their cures, are described in some detail. Steam engines, submarines, transmission of electricity along a metal wire, seeding of clouds, these are some of the more fascinating scientific subjects covered. Look at this mantra from the Rigveda on wire transmission of electricity. Yuvam pedave puravaram ashvina spridham shvetam tarutaram duvasyatha Sharyair abhidyum Britanasu dushtaram Charkrityam indramiva Charshani saham. Meaning, O king and commander of the army, use the power of electricity along a wire to create light and weapons that are difficult for the enemy to bear. With elaborate processes, obtain pure metallic wire which can then be connected to devices for creation and amplification of electricity. This takes it over long distances and has many uses. The word Tarutaram specifically refers to a wire. Isn't this amazing as a description of how to conduct electricity along a wire and how to use it? Similarly, all other subjects are given in brief and not as a textbook or a manual. This is the way of the Vedas to kickstart your exploration while giving your mental faculties full scope for playing out. Let us now look at some of the basic tenets propounded by the Vedas. The Eternal Trinity. The Vedas tell us about the existence of 3 entities in this universe. These are matter or Prakriti, that is inanimate and makes up most of the universe. Individual souls or Jivatmas, that are animate but have limited capability and knowledge. God or Paramatma, who is one, all-knowing, all-powerful and pervades the universe, and even exists outside the universe. He creates the universe and molds matter into the different forms that we see around us. He surrounds the soul with a body made of matter and so gives rise to life in the universe. The 4 goals of life. These 3 entities come together in the universe so that the souls can perform action. These actions allow the individual souls to achieve the goals of their life. These goals are divided into 4 categories: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma means righteousness and includes duties and responsibilities, those of your profession, of your family, of society, etc. Taking care of elders, rearing children, donating money for poor are all dharmic activities. Arth refers to wealth and includes activities to earn one's bread like business, farming, etc. This is what most of adult life is spent in today. Dharma as ethics should pervade all actions for Arth too. Kam refers to our desires, enjoyments and comforts. All activities for Arth actually have Kam as a motivation, be it for food, comforts, family, power or any other such desire. Moksha is the ultimate goal of life and means the release from the bondage of a material body. The soul is far more than what the body restricts it to. Also, the body entails a lot of suffering. Release from this suffering is moksha. Thus, while dharma, artha and kam are all related with living in this material world, moksha is the release from it. Being opposed to each other in this fashion, the activities required for the two sets are quite separate. Moksha is the path of renunciation. One of the big aims of the Vedas is to make man aware of this higher goal of moksha, which cannot be guessed by logic per se, and to detail the actions required to achieve it. This is one of the unique features of the Vedas and is a concept that is borrowed by many other religions and philosophies of the world. As you can guess, these goals are unique to mankind and are not available to other beings. While all other beings are destined to live very simple lives that have little scope for radical action, human beings sit at the pinnacle of creation and have considerable freedom of bodily action, speech and thought. The law of karma. Life is a series of actions. The law operating behind our actions and their outcomes is the well-known law of karma, where karma means action. Matter creates the opportunities for actions and learning for the soul, and God is the judge of these actions, rewarding it or punishing it. Actions according to dharma lead to punya and ultimately to happiness. Those against dharma lead to pap and sorrow. The 4 stages of life. Now the actions that you perform are also dependent on the stage of your life. The Vedas give a guideline for the kind of actions one should perform at different stages of one's life. According to them, a typical human being is expected to live for 100 years. This 100-year lifespan is divided equally into 4 stages of 25 years each, called ashramas. The first ashram is called Brahmacharya ashram, at which time we acquire knowledge of all sorts. It is the learning phase, the student years. The second 25 years constitute Grihastha ashram, at which time we take up a job and start a family. We contribute to the family, society and the nation. After 50 years, it is time to turn our attention to spiritual matters in the Vanaprastha ashram. In ancient times, people took to the forest with or without their spouse, leaving their worldly responsibilities to their children. However, it is quite alright to stay at home and involve yourself in spiritual studies and discussions in today's time of depleting forests. In 25 years, one should have typically gained enlightenment and would be ready to take sannyas ashram. This also has duties involved. The enlightened are required to roam far and wide, spreading their knowledge to the other ashramites, particularly the grihasthis, who are not able to find time to seek out sages. Looked at another way, in Brahmacharya ashram, one learns dharma. In grihasth, one applies dharma to enjoy artha and kama. In vanaprastha, one starts striving for moksha. Having achieved success, one helps others in sannyas. This is more a guideline than a prescription. If you wanted to continue in brahmacharya for life, you could. Or you could die a grihasthi. Or you could take sannyas after brahmacharya ashram. So there is sufficient leeway for individuals to follow their calling. The cycle of creation. Another interesting teaching of the Vedas is that the universe is born, expands to enable life, and then dissolves back into primordial matter. The period of creation or srishti is equal to the period of destruction or pralaya. This cycle of creation, maintenance and dissolution repeats itself ad infinitum. Like the rotating wheel, it has no beginning and no end. This kind of cyclical infinity is what modern astrophysicists are trying to comprehend and prove today. It is time to look at some beautiful verses from the Vedas. Yat kamaste juhumastanno astu vayam syama patayo rainam. This Rigvedic verse says, "May the desires with which we remember you come true, O God, and may we become the lords of all kinds of wealth." Clearly, the Vedas do not abhor wealth and consumption. However, they do recommend the way to enjoy it, as in the following 2 verses. Kevalagho bhavati kevaladi. The one who does not share his food and wealth with the learned or his family and friends is one who does not share his sin with anyone either. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. Enjoy the wealth of this world, but without becoming obsessed with it. These next 2 verses talk about facets of normal life. The first advises one to engage in agriculture, while the next one tells us to improve our health through naturally available herbs. Krishanmit phala ashitam kranoti. The plough wielder, while tilling the land, becomes the producer of food. Drihamula magram Yachavi madhyamo yama yoshadhe kesha nada eva vardhantam shishnaste asitaha pari. Application of a particular medicinal herb will strengthen the roots of hair, make them grow at the ends, make the middle manageable, and make them black and flexible like the reeds on a riverbank. The next verse relates to the metaphysical. It is a verse to be remembered at the point of death. Vayu ranila mamrita mathedam bhasmantam shariram om krito smara klibe smara kritam smara. This body will return to ashes and finally to primordial matter. O soul, you have done your deeds. Now remember the Lord and remember your strengths, the knowledge that you have acquired and that which you have achieved in this life. Here a clear distinction is drawn between God, the soul and matter. Also, it is made clear that all that remains on giving up this body is the knowledge that you acquire and the deeds you do. The next mantra illuminates the path to moksha as one that requires meditation leading to union with the Supreme. Yunjate mana uta yunjate dhiyo vipra viprasya brahato vipaschitaha vihotra dadhe vayuna videka immahi devasya savituh parishtutihi. Just like the most learned of seers who had merged their senses and their minds in the great eulogy of God in deep meditation, so also I, desirous of finding Him, sit alone in meditation. Thus we can see that the Vedas cover a vast range of topics, from the mundane to the mystic. A study of the Vedas indeed sends one on a journey of cosmic proportions. Just like when one delves into gross matter, one finds the atom. When one peers at the atom, one finds subatomic particles. When one explores these particles, more mysteries are thrown up. So also, the Vedic mantras yield more and more meanings as one studies them more and more. Swami Dayanand said that it is important for everyone to read and understand the Vedas, as they are our direct link to God and His method. For those who have understood well even parts of it, they must take the pains to transmit it to others. I hope you too will undertake the journey to discover Vedic wisdom, because there is only one path to discover God, and that path lies through the Vedas. Nanyah pantha vidyate yanaya. Om Sham. Dhanyavad. Namaste.